joining in. So just hold on for just a couple of minutes and we will begin with the session today. Hi, Vivek. Vivek, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, very well. Hi, very
All
good
right.
morning, Vivek.
Good morning, everyone.
Finally, good to have you.
Thank you,
Okay,
thank you.
ladies, so please meet. Without further ado, I will not waste any more time because, enough and more we have already been through. So, let me just introduce our coach for the day, Vivek Kumar. Uh, before I introduce, Vivek, can we just wait for a couple of minutes more, or shall we
Yeah, yeah.
begin?
Sure, we can wait. Not a
I'll
problem.
at least, do your introduction by then. Ladies, Vivek is an IIT Delhi alumni, a product and digital growth specialist who has managed 250 plus clients from 15 different countries. Started his career with global consulting firms like TCS and KPMG, and later forayed into entrepreneurship, mainly catering to startups and SMBs. He has already mentored 10,000 plus students and working professionals through training programs in digital marketing and product management at Simply Learn and Great Learning. Currently, he works as a fractional CMOs for a few consumer and technology brands. So, welcome, Vivek, and I think we shall begin with today's session. So, over to you.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thanks, Avneet.
for
Yeah, hi
one more,
everyone. Good morning. Yeah, please.
yeah,
Sorry.
there is one more query, which is, this a bit of confusion, I would say, that,
Mm-hmm.
as planned, we had the first session
Right.
was for some other topic than what we have today. Okay. So, would you want to, as both of the session you are only going to take? The first session was content creation and, the first session was understanding creative content.
Right.
So, since both of these topics are going to be covered by you, would you want to do this one today? If you
No,
can
I
just
think
suggest on this,
I
please.
yeah. So I think I'll begin with the first topic only because these are supposed to be conducted in a continuation, right? So there's
Right.
no point leaving that apart. So yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
Great. Then I think Pooja, you got your answer.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
I was just waiting for Vivek to join in and then clarify this because, of course, this is a sequence where we would also not disturb want to disturb
Yeah.
it.
That's what I
Right.
was
Okay.
also thinking the same. Yeah, we should go ahead with the first topic. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
ladies, just a small note. I will share the schedule again. So, today we will be doing understanding creative content. Second, which is tomorrow, will be content creation, ideation, and tools. And third will be content optimization and performance indicator, which is going to be held on 30th of August. Okay, so this is now going to be the sequence. I will be sharing this with you in the WhatsApp group as well. And now over to you, Vivek. The class is all yours.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Avneet. So, good morning, everyone. And first of all, my apologies for missing out in the first session. I know that, all of you have been eagerly waiting for that. So, yeah, but I would ensure that, all these three sessions are going to be really useful and impactful for your career. Okay. So, now that we have back-to-back sessions over the next 3 days, right? So before we start, I'll probably like to get a little bit of hang of, the audience itself, like, what exactly are your career plans? Maybe, just 5 minutes of, discussion, maybe one or two lines about each of you. You can just send in the chat window and trying to help me understand that when you think about content creation, so what exactly is your motive or purpose behind doing that? Like, there could be used for different purposes. For example, let's say for someone like me, it could be a way to promote my services and help people understand where I stand in terms of my expertise in the domain, right? So for some of you, it could be related to, let's say, maybe a product or a service idea that you have, and you want to just educate people about that, right? Sometimes it could be about talking about something which you are really passionate about. Let's say maybe you're passionate about arts or maybe cinema or whatever, right? So, if you can just drop maybe one line about, all of you in the chat window. So I'll try to see that, I have something uh, for each one of you in the session because, see, it's a very vast domain, when it comes to content creation could be very different from, let's say, B2B and B2C. And even in B2C, if you talk about different industries, different products and all, so it could be, it's very diverse. Like, for example, content creation for a D2C brand like a beauty or maybe personal care could be very different from, let's say, an automobile brand, right? So all these things are very, very important. So I would say that just put your maybe name, location, and also why do you want to learn content creation, and what is your expectation from these three sessions. So just put that in the chat window. Okay. So I'll just wait for a couple of minutes, maybe 2, 3 minutes before you put them so that I can go through them quickly and tailor my content accordingly. Because if someone from your batch had attended my last session, so they might have seen that it was lesser of the PPT in the last few sessions and more on the, the tools, platforms, examples, ideas, and all, right? When it comes to content creation. So Sai Sudha has mentioned I'm a product manager at Dell and I want to improve product experience through content to improve adoption and overall experience. That's great. For Rukmani, it's a passion, motivated, and I've just started content creation journey. Looking forward to take your guidance and upskill myself. Okay. Pooja is saying that she's working with Oracle as a site reliability engineer and all right. Google Women Tech Makers Ambassador. I'm a tech influencer, public speaker, and digital nomad. So again, she's excited to create this content around public speaking tips, and her long-term goal is to collaborate with the brands for content. Lakshmi is saying she's from Godavari district and mainly in the clothing business as a freelancer. Then there's Priya, who is again, she's here for the content creation for sharing her passion. Then Hema is saying that quality content would help her sell her product more effectively, and I have to start online course in the future. Okay, that's great. So I think I have fair idea about what all of you are looking for. Okay, and let me see if I can bring different perspectives to cover your expectation. Okay. So just give me a moment. All right, so I'll just project my screen. And as I mentioned that I'm going to spend more time on the actual examples than the PPT, but it's very important for you to understand the entire outline of the content that we're going to discuss. So let me know once you start seeing my screen. Okay, there are a few more in the chat window. Okay. So anyways, I think I have a fair understanding of what all you want, right? So I'll start with the topic now. Just give me, so I'll just try to turn off all the distractions. It's work hours, so a lot of things going on. Okay, so so this is what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the entire process of content creation, and it's important. And we'll also try to understand the different types and formats of content. So I'll give you some examples, and we will explore the differences between the written content and the visual content. And even in the visual content, there will be different kind of you can say content that includes images, videos, etc. Right? So we'll talk all about them. Okay, right? So let me ask you first question, like what do you mean by content creation? You can speak up. I'm going to keep it very interactive kind of session, right? So anyone who wants to come forward and talk about what according to them is the content creation.
So, like according to the target audience, we have to create a content. For example, if I am from a tech industry, I have to create content for tech regarding things and all. It should be very
Mm-hmm.
interactive at the same time.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I would like to say, so my name is Abhivyakti. So, content is like the subject matter that we want to pitch to our target audience, so that they can we can penetrate through the market,
Mm-hmm.
for which we create a specific subject matter targeting to our audience, target audience.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That is what content is what about.
all right. Anyone else who wants to come forward and talk about that?
Hi Vivek, Upasna here.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
higher person.
what I think of content creation is like it can be of any format and
Mm-hmm.
it can be created for multiple reasons. It maybe it is for creating awareness about a brand, maybe
Mm-hmm.
for creating a buzz, maybe for selling a product.
Mm-hmm.
So, it can be created for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So yeah, so I think most of you understand the basic or I would say the dynamics of content creation, especially in the age of internet and social media, right? So see, doesn't matter what kind of content are we talking about. The content that we're going to create must have a purpose. Okay. So as some of you mentioned that you have a very specific target audience in mind, and now you want to reach out to that. So you will need to understand that what kind of content would they like or would they prefer. And the most important thing, it's not that you can put anything or everything online, right? So for example, let's say you might be very good at maybe stand-up comedy, okay, but that doesn't mean that you need to put content related to stand-up comedy unless until you this is what you want to serve to your audience, and of course this is the way you plan to promote your product or service, right? So if your audience is let's say maybe buying let's take an example of maybe some personal care products, right? It could be related to beauty or skin or health, right? And you are a stand-up comedian, in general. So maybe what you can think about is you can probably create content which is still tailored for the audiences who are looking for beauty and skincare tips. Okay, but maybe you can use a pinch of humor in that. Instead of promoting only your stand-up comedy videos, because that's not the purpose of your channel, right? So your purpose of the channel is to reach out to the audience who are into the beauty and the personal care products. Okay, so before you understand content creation, it's very important for you to understand what is content marketing. Okay. And content marketing is not a new thing, by the way. People have been talking about it lately, and you can go to this link. This is a very good, website called as Content Marketing Institute, or you can even enroll for some course. I would say some free blogs and all on this website, which is HubSpot.com. So these are very good examples of content marketing, right? They themselves use content marketing to the large extent. Okay. Now, content marketing is basically based on the idea that it should be focused on creating and as well as distributing a very valuable and relevant content. Okay. So I'll just take you through the definition of this. Okay. So you would understand what I'm talking about. Let's try to understand these things. Okay. And don't worry, I'll provide you the notes and all. You don't have to worry about, that. In case if you want to make the notes, you're fine. You should be fine with that. Otherwise, I'll share this content also with you. Okay. Now, what we're talking about is this part. Content marketing is a very strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, okay, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Okay, now I'll try to decode this first because this is very important in the context of the content creation, because we're just doing one part of that, and content distribution becomes the other part of that, right? So which we're going to talk about eventually in this you can say
Excuse
series of
me,
sessions.
Vivek.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, when we are talking like bending little forward, then the voice is little clear.
Oh,
So, is
okay,
anyone else facing that issue?
okay. Is this better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think it's probably because of my mic. So, anyways, I'll try to keep my mic close to my mouth. Okay, so,
Thank you, sir.
uh, yeah, thank you. So now I'll try to decode this for you first to understand what it is. So when we say it's a very strategic kind of marketing approach, right? So you need to understand that we are not simply creating content for the sake of doing it. Okay, just because you sing, so you're not just uploading the videos related to songs, right? You have some kind of purpose in mind. So it's very important that you understand and define that purpose first, and based on that you create or build a strategy or marketing strategy so that you can create the content in line with that. So that's why we call that as a very strategic marketing approach. Okay, so it's very important that you must have a focus and a plan in place so that you can create everything in line with that. Okay, now the second part is focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content, right? So when we say creating, so this is what we're going to talk today, right? So creation is just one part of that, right? But is creation of content enough? I think you would all say no to this, because simply creating content would not help you. You need to promote that content, which is basically where we talk about the distribution of the content. Okay, so content creation is just one part of that. You can say it's more like, tip of the iceberg, and a lot of hard work, a lot of smart work goes in the background that enables your content to scale up. So that's also one of the reasons that you'll see that few of the social media content creators are very successful, while there are others who are probably doing a very good job. They do have quality content, but they're not able to scale them. So I'm also going to give you some glimpse about different ways in which we can scale this content and make it a repeatable kind of process for you, right? So that you're able to achieve a certain goal with the help of that. Okay, so creation as well as the distribution, or I would say in this case, the promotion of the content is also very, very important. Okay, so that's the second point that you need to remember. Okay, now the third point is when we talk about, as I mentioned, that you cannot just put anything and everything online, right? So what you need to do is you need to put valuable, relevant, and consistent content, right? So valuable is something that, of course, your audience would value and respect you for that. So you don't go to each vlogger or blogger, just because they're creating random type of content. So maybe, let's say, if you want parenting tips, so maybe you already have some bloggers in mind or social media influencers in mind who you think are the experts in parenting, and you follow their social media channels because you think that their content is more valuable when it comes to child care or parenting and so on. Okay. Then maybe there's another one who is more into, let's say, uh, career guidance, right? And that person is creating content to help you realize your career goals. Okay. So each of these are examples of valuable content. We cannot say that, okay, just because someone is creating content for parenting, is not their content is not valuable. Okay, their content is very valuable because this is where you're going to spend time. Like as an audience, you want to interact with them, you want to take their tips. Purpose are different, right? So you cannot compare like a professional education with, let's say, something which is very different, which is parenting in this case, right? So all of these are valuable content. So now you need to understand what kind of content is valuable for your target audience. You already have defined your target audience, maybe, or you're supposed to define now. So do that first, and then think about what kind of content would serve the purpose. The second important thing is it should not be only valuable, but it should be relevant too. Okay. Now, when you're talking about the relevancy of the content, so let's take again an example of parenting content, right? So, parenting has changed a lot. Maybe when we were growing up, the challenges faced by our parents were very, very different from what it is today. Like, I think I remember seeing one meme that talks about earlier, moms and, parents would basically uh, stop children from going out and playing in the sun. They were like, okay, you're not studying, you're wasting your time going and playing outside. Okay. And now the things are changing. Now people are okay so much engrossed in their devices, be it laptops, mobile phones, or computers and all, right? So now parents are asking them to step out of the home, okay, and have some sun, go and play with the people, so try to socialize. So the challenges, are very, very different when you're talking about a millennial or maybe a Gen Z kind of parent, right? So the challenges are very different now as compared to the baby boomers and all, right? So what I'm talking about is the relevancy of the content, whether the things that you're talking about, uh, does it hold relevancy even in today's age or not? The world is changing very fast. It's very dynamic, right? Technology is evolving at such a, drastic pace, and our society is evolving around that. Okay, so you have to be ready for that. Okay. Now the third point is very, very critical. So when you talk about content, the consistency is very, very important. Okay. Now it should not happen that maybe this month you have lots of free time. So you thought of, creating lots of content, and you started bombarding your content to the audience, maybe let's say 2 or 3 videos in a day. Okay. And then it happened that your workload has increased, and you decided, okay, maybe this month I shall take a back seat. I've already done enough for my audience, and I would not publish any kind of content now. Okay. So this is not going to work, right? So this is a very bad strategy. There are multiple reasons for that. First of all, when you start publishing content and when people start following you, so one of the bare minimum expectations from the followers is that to see you more often. So I'm not saying that, okay, you should be online all day, you should be live, or you should push too much of content on a daily basis. But what you should do rather is, you should rather think about a schedule and a discipline, that stays in a way that people know that, okay, maybe today in the evening, let's say if at 5 p.m. I would log in into my Instagram account, so I'm likely to see the content coming from, let's say, Avneet, because every day she would publish a post around 4 or 5 p.m. in the evening, and naturally that appears in my social media feed. Okay. So this becomes important for your audience and for you also, because most of the social media algorithms picks up things based on when and how your content is being published, how much people are interacting with that content, what is the level of engagement, whether say they simply like it or they also put comments, maybe they share it. So a lot of factors affect your content promotion and distribution factor, right? So this is very important that you should have a very consistent content. Now, the next part of this definition is attract and retain a clearly defined audience. So one thing is, of course, when you start building content, we'll talk about the different kind of processes, including keywords, hashtags, and so on, right? But having said that, it's very important that you not only build a strategy for attracting an audience, but also it should be about retaining that audience. Okay. Now, in marketing, when we talk about the various costs which are associated with customers or audience, right? So the acquiring cost of the customers or the audience is always on the higher side. Okay. So you can ask any e-commerce company, D2C brand, and they will tell you that most of the time when they acquire their customer for the first time, so they're selling the product in losses to that customer. Okay. Because of a very, very high customer acquisition cost. Okay. No, they cannot recover their marketing money unless until they try to retain that audience or customer. Okay. So let's say if you're buying from Amazon, maybe first time you buy from the Amazon, you have seen some advertisement on Google or maybe Facebook, and you click on that advertisement and you buy certain stuff, right? And when you do that, so what happens is there's this advertisement spend that has gone in acquiring you as a customer, uh, and Amazon has paid that to Google or Facebook for that purpose. Let's say you buy a product worth of 1,000 rupees, and they have spent maybe 500 rupees to acquire you as a customer. Okay, now let's take any like keeping in mind the different kind of cost, including shipping cost and all that stuff. Maybe this cost can become even 750 or so. Okay, so clearly they are in the losses on the first order. Okay, but maybe by the time you have put your fifth order, the company starts making profit from you as a customer, right? So it's very important that when you're creating a plan for your content creation, you should think about both creating and retaining a clearly defined audience. So when I mention clearly defined audience, it's very important. Now, a lot of time people, when I talk to even my clients for that matter, okay, and I remember lots of these conversations where when I ask my client that who is your target audience, sometimes I get a very vague answer like, okay, everyone is our target audience. Okay. See, I mean, doesn't matter how generic your product or service is, not everyone can be your target market or audience. Okay, you will need to define them in certain ways. You can think about who is more likely to buy your product, even if it's, let's say, a product as simple as maybe or maybe a soap or maybe a shampoo for that matter, right, which is normally used by almost everyone. Okay, but then you must define, maybe based on the characteristics or USPs of your product, that who could be the best audience for you. And then you try to, once you have defined your audience persona, then you will be able to create the best form of content for them, right? And promote them online. And that's the final thing, which is basically leading to the profitable customer action. Okay. So ultimately, everyone wants to make a profit, whether you are as a content creator, whether you are a brand, whether you're a service provider. So everyone wants to make a profit. Okay, so you can't just spend your entire life creating content and not to expect anything out of that. Okay, so that's not something which will most of us will do that. Okay, right? So this is about the basics of content marketing, and now I'll start talking about the content creation and different form of content and everything. But uh, if you have any questions, just ask me before I move on to the next topic. So if you understood this, if you have any doubts, all right. Now, what would you do as a content creator? So you need to understand that a content creator is someone who creates content for very specific channels. Okay. Now you must be thinking, okay, these are very generic things, but trust me, these are not. And I'll tell you why and how. So let's say some of you uh, might be very active on LinkedIn, and then you might have a very minimal or almost maybe negligible presence on Instagram. Okay. Also, the fact that most of your audience that you are trying to target is on LinkedIn. Okay, so maybe you will focus on LinkedIn for the content creation. But then for someone else, Instagram could become a primary channel. Okay. So when you think about content creation, you should always think about where exactly your audience spends time. Okay. Now, again, I get asked about this question wherein people say that, Vivek, my audience could be anywhere, like, just like the way I am having my social media accounts like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everything. So maybe my audience is also available on each of these platforms. Maybe that's correct to an extent. Okay. But then it's also correct that audience doesn't spend time on each of these platforms equally. First thing. Second thing, yes, maybe the same audience exists on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on other platforms. But is your content, is the way your content is being presented, is relevant to them on Instagram? or is that what they're looking for on Instagram? Okay, I'm not sure that how many people are actually looking for a content related to corporate life, maybe cybersecurity and things like maybe AI and all on Instagram, but they're surely looking for something like that on the LinkedIn. Okay, vice versa, if you think about maybe you have the same audience who is present on LinkedIn and Instagram both, but maybe that person, she doesn't expect a content related to, let's say, beauty tips on LinkedIn. She's expecting similar content on Instagram but not on LinkedIn. Okay, so what I'm trying to talk about is that there are two facets of content marketing, or and this is where content creation would come. So content creation plus promotion is actually content marketing, right? Since I'm talking about content creation, so it's very important for you to talk about that in the context of content marketing, right? So we're talking about two concepts. One is audience persona, and the other one is channel persona. Okay, so when you think about audience persona, so audience persona is more about attributes related to audience. Okay, so you'll probably think about, let's say, if you're a parenting coach, so you'll think about maybe an audience which is probably in the age group of 25 to 45 or something, when most of the Indians get married, or they have child, or they have growing child for that matter, right? So, and then you can think about both men and women, they can be targeted. And then you create content on the basis of that. So you can define your audience, whether it's based on the age group or their gender, maybe the location, like whether you want to stick to urban parents, or you also want to reach out to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? Or do you want only to reach out to the working parents, right? Maybe parent with a certain social or economic strata. So all these kind of things are very important, and this will also define the base for your content. So that's your audience persona. Now you think about the channel persona. So I was talking about things, the examples that I was giving you about the LinkedIn and the Twitter and the Instagram. So all of these are the parts of channel persona. So now, at LinkedIn, you might think about jobs, career, business. So these are the things which are very important on LinkedIn. And you're probably creating content which is either connected with these, or at least, I would say, kind of a reflection of the same. Okay. So in a ways, it's relevant to the audience over there, and that's what the audience expects over there. So in LinkedIn, if you put a reel, maybe that's not the right platform, because even if the LinkedIn enables those features, eventually they will probably think, okay, this is not the right audience for their reel, that matter. Okay, but the same thing works like charm on Instagram, right? Then so it's not just about the content, sorry, the platform features, but also about the way audience prefers to see content or interact with the content on that platform, which is LinkedIn in this case. Okay, while an Instagram audience could be very, very different from that. Okay, so it's important when you come to a content creation strategy, you should think about a mix of both the audience as well as channel. Once you have identified this mix of which channel should be used for the content creation, and which audience you should target, so now you will know that what kind of content would work the best for that. And this is where we'll talk about the different formats of content. Okay, so yeah, so if you have any questions, maybe you can ask me. uh, so there's a
Vivek, Pooja and Rukmani have raised their hands. Rukmani, you
yeah,
can
sure.
ask, and later Pooja, after Rukmani, you can ask your question.
So, sir, I have a doubt like how we will come to know that
Mm-hmm.
where our audience spend most of the time and from where they consume more content.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a good question. So first of all, I would like to understand a little bit more about you and your niche, what kind of content you want to create. Maybe then I can answer your questions even in a better way.
So, like digital marketing, graphics design.
Mm-hmm. All right. So basically, you want to teach people more about digital marketing and graphic design, right?
Yes, sir. and
Okay,
branding related stuffs and all.
right. So now, I think in your scenario, it could be applicable to both LinkedIn as well as Instagram and Facebook. And I'll tell you why. So when you think about Instagram and Facebook, this will be mainly catering to the smaller businesses and the freelancers and solopreneurs kind of people, right? So people who handle the business solely on their own, or it could be very small businesses like mostly family or self-owned businesses, which probably falls in the category of self-employed or very small and humble setups. So these are the people who are probably not active on LinkedIn much as compared to how much they're active on the Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Now, if you think about a corporate setup as your audience, then you should definitely target your content on LinkedIn. Okay. See, as I mentioned that, this is a combination of two factors. One is the audience as well as the channel itself. So each channel has certain characteristics. Like, for example, if you go to Twitter, so you'll see that Twitter is always about exchanging ideas, So there are people who start a topic. Let's say people start talking about the RG car incident that recently happened in Kolkata. Okay, and then there are lots of comments, there are lots of discussions going on. Okay, now whether you as a content creator should come into that mix, that's something which will depend upon your target audience and what exactly are you trying to achieve from there. Okay, so maybe this might not be the best example of content creation, but what I'm trying to help you understand is that people approach a certain channel with a certain mindset. Okay, so if they go to Twitter, their idea is to engage with other people and exchange more and more ideas, open up, talk about different things, put their views, comments, discussions, arguments. So all those kind of things will happen. Okay, now, if you go to YouTube, so YouTube probably, if you see the video content on YouTube and the video content on Instagram, they are way different from each other. Even though video content is becoming very popular on Instagram, right? So on YouTube, you'll see mostly the long videos, even though YouTube has no shorts feature, but most of the time people approach YouTube with a clear objective that I want to learn something in very detail. So let's say a makeup artist can exist on Instagram and YouTube both, okay? Or maybe on Instagram, what she can do is she can put some small videos like reels and all, where she can talk about very quick tips related to beauty or styling, right? And the same person goes to YouTube, and what she will do is she will probably create a 15 or 10 minutes of video where she will probably guide you in a very step-by-step manner about a certain specific process in the makeup, right? So you also need to understand this mix, that what kind of content works on YouTube versus Instagram, and what your audience expects over there. So this is once you start thinking about this, you will get the right answer. Okay, and don't just go by the name that okay, just because LinkedIn is for professional, it's meant for every business or everything. So even Facebook could be effective, as I mentioned, in the case of small businesses and solopreneurs and freelancers. Again, depending upon the fact that your audience is probably more active over there, okay, and they engage with a certain type of content.
So, like mostly people say that Facebook is not like it's not widely used nowadays. It's more about Insta and LinkedIn,
Mhm.
and also so like how like should I upload the same video in LinkedIn as well as in Insta, or should I tailor the content?
See, ideally, I would advise you to tailor the content because, as I mentioned, that the same format might not be hit on every platform. Okay, so I'll give an example. Let's say you're talking about parenting. Okay, now let's say you want to be everywhere. Okay, you want to post on LinkedIn, you want to post on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So how would you do that? One example could be I can go to LinkedIn, and what I can do is uh, I can create a poll on the LinkedIn and asking all the working parents that what are the challenges that you face while parenting your kids as a working parent, right? and then I can give them maybe three or four or five options, and people will start selecting those polling, votes and all, and some of them might even put some comments on that particular post. So that could be one part. Now, what you do is maybe you go to Instagram, create a reel or a post, and then start asking the same question. What are your challenges? Tell me. I'm going to conduct a video. I'll come live and answer your queries. I would like to know what are the challenges that you face as working parents. So maybe these parents are also active on Instagram, right? And they will start putting comments over there. Now you can see the format has changed, right? So on Instagram, it's a reel format. On YouTube, sorry, LinkedIn, it was more like a question and with the polling option. Then you go to maybe Facebook or Facebook or YouTube, and then you go live instantly on all the platforms, including Instagram and Facebook. You can go live simultaneously, and then you can even go live on YouTube for that matter with the help of some tools that I'm going to talk about. So one single tool can allow you to be live or active on all the platform in one go. Okay, so there are such kind of tools that exist today. Okay, now you go live and then you talk in details about all these different kind of parenting challenges, and the more or less your content is sorted because now you have the votes from the parents. You also have some open-ended, you can say, ideas coming from the parents in the comments of those social media posts. So now you have gathered enough information. We know that what are their challenges, and now you're going to invite them to your webinar or live video, whatever you want to say, call it, and then you talk about all of these, and that becomes a very relevant content. Okay, so the problem with sharing the same content on multiple platforms is that it doesn't, how do I put it? It's not, I won't say that it's not valid, but it's not engaging based on that platform, because that's how the platform is structured. That's how the audience normally prefers to interact with content on that platform, right? So the same format might not work on all the platforms.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. So now I'm going to talk about different forms of content. Okay. So there are plenty of them, but I'm going to stick to some of the most important ones so that you understand. And it's not just in the context of social media, by the way. Okay. So, so how many of you heard about SEO? And if you understand SEO, let me know. Search engine optimization. Okay, that's the full form. Okay, I think there are more. We have already answered your questions, right, Pooja and Shivani?
No, we are like actually raising hands, like we have heard about
Oh,
this term.
okay, okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
All right, no issues. Yeah. So what do you think is more important when it comes to the SEO content creation?
The keywords,
The keywords, okay. And how do you decide upon the keywords, by the way?
So by using various tools and
Mhm.
techniques.
So by looking at the different sites, which words are most sought after.
Okay. See, I think, I see a fascination for the tools and techniques all the time. And a lot of people kind of forgets that you need to start with the fundamentals first, right? So when I ask you that what is SEO and what do you think is very important for SEO, and again you mentioned about the keywords. Some of you have mentioned about the keywords that So you should understand again the purpose, right? Now, just let me ask you a question this way. When you go to Google or any other search engine, whether it's Bing or any other platform for that matter, so what exactly do you want to do? When you go to Google, what do you do?
Search something.
Search something, right? Maybe it could be related to any information that you are struggling to find answers for. Maybe you're even searching for products or services, right? So yeah, so searching a particular information. Now, why would you go to Google more than Bing?
So trustworthy.
User
Trustworthy, okay,
friendly.
but why do you trust Google more than Bing? These are all large organizations. Both Google and Microsoft are big companies, right? You still prefer Google more than Bing, and why exactly so?
So because it is being used by most of the people,
Hmm.
mostly used search engine, and it's worldwide.
Okay,
I feel it's only about out of habit we go to Google for everything.
all right,
Google has more brand awareness than Binge.
okay. Yeah, I mean, pretty valid answers, but see, it's very simple. When do I use a product or service as a user? Let's say if I prefer to use a certain brand or a certain product, there must be some reason behind this. Okay. First of all, you need to understand that anything that solves your problem is very important for you, okay, as a user. So if you go to Google, that means that Google solves your problems better than Bing or some other platform. Maybe branding can help, no doubt. Google is, having more trustworthiness, as some of you mentioned. They have a very good brand recall or recognition, right? But let's say if you go to Google, or forget about Google, maybe there are, I think, 30 odd participants, 37 of us, right? Let's say Aarti tells Pooja that, Pooja, this restaurant is very good. So Pooja goes there and she finds that restaurant very bad. Okay. So her experience has been very bad. So will Pooja go there, this restaurant again? Maybe no, right? So she will think maybe this is good for Aarti, but I don't think I had a great experience over there. Okay. So similarly, it happens with all these digital products and services. So maybe someone would prefer Zomato over Swiggy, and vice versa also. Okay. So what I'm trying to help you understand is that search engine is supposed to answer your queries, provide you a relevant information. So as long as you get that information, you will go to that particular search engine, which is Google. Now, maybe because of the open AI integration into Bing, maybe it can happen that Bing becomes a better search engine. Let's say, let's put it that way. So maybe slowly and gradually, you as a user would shift towards Bing and start using it more than Google. Okay. Now, so that is a fundamental thing. So you go to Google to find some information or maybe to get answers to some of your queries. Okay. Now, second thing, if Google is a platform, so why it's so important for you as a content creator? What would you achieve or what would you do to ensure that the user is getting what he or she is supposed to get, and then you are also getting rewarded for that? Okay. So keywords will come later on. You need to understand that whether people search for these things or not. Okay. Let's say again, if I'm talking about the parenting tips. Okay. So whether people would go to Google to find parenting tips more, or whether they go to Instagram rather, and maybe then search or follow some bloggers over there. Okay. So there's a huge difference between the two. Okay. I'm not saying that this one is better or this one is not, and so on. I'm not trying to compare it that way. You need to understand that whether the users would go for that particular purpose to Google or not. Okay. Now, how do you validate that? You don't know that answer. Okay. So you can simply go to Google. Let me just show you something. Okay. Uh, I'll go to Google and start searching for something related to parenting tips. Okay. Just look at this. So one good thing about the Google is when you go to Google, sorry, this is a wrong spelling. Right. So when you we mentioned tips, right? Not the topics. Okay. Yeah. So when you type anything in the Google, so parenting tips, the moment you start typing it, what Google does is it starts suggesting you certain things. These are based on the user history, by the way. Okay. This could be related to you, and this could be also related to the other users on the internet who are using Google and searching for something similar. So the moment you start typing parenting tips, it starts showing you all of these relevant ideas like parenting tips in Marathi, parenting tips for toddlers, teenagers, for Indian parents, preschoolers, and so on. Okay. And then you can, let's say, you want to target this one, right? So maybe you can just click on this and go to Google and start seeing what exactly is being put over there in the Google parenting tips. And you start seeing the nature of the content that is being put. So like this probably looks like a blog. Okay. Then there's some kind of, I think most of the first couple of ones, they come to be, uh, they appear to be like the state-owned entities, right? State of Michigan, and also these are mostly the government portals I can see. Okay. And if you start scrolling, so now you'll start seeing more of these blogs. Again, if you see, there's again another entity, UNICEF, that appears. Then there's another NGO or organization, I don't know what it is, healthychildren.org, and so on. So most of these are organizations, mostly international or government owned organizations that are appearing in the search results. And along with that, there are a few blogs that appear. So what you're doing is you're trying to do some research and trying to find out whether the content that you're trying to visualize, whether it will work or not, first thing. It's very important for you to validate the idea that what kind of content is being searched and what kind of content appears when you search for anything in the Google. So you should also think about what exactly appears, and especially in the first page. So those of you who know a little bit about the SEO, I'm sure that you know that for your SEO to work, you must rank in the first page and especially in the top 3 or top 5 positions so that you can get maximum impressions or clicks from there. Okay. And then you will get the website visits and so on and so forth. Maybe people will buy from you, they will subscribe based on what kind of business model you have, and whether it's a blog or something, right? So first step is the validation of the idea. The second step is where you start doing some keyword research. So now you know that, okay, I'm trying to focus on the parenting tips for toddlers. So what I'll do is I will copy this keyword, and what I'll do is I'll probably go to a tool. I'll just show you an example of one of the tools, which is Google AdWords, Google Ads rather, and they have a keyword tool.
రిసెప్షన్ కి వేరే అది చూద్దాం సింపుల్.
I think someone has enabled her mic. Can you mute it?
Muted, Vivek.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm not getting to the detail of this. Maybe I'll show it to you later on. But today I'm just going to give you a glimpse of how it works, the process. So what you've done is you have gone to Google, you have picked up a certain topic like parenting tips. Then you realize that maybe parenting tips for toddlers is something that you want to talk about, right? And now I go to this tool called as Google Ads, and they have lots of tools, by the way, and there's a tool called as Keyword Planner. So what you will do is you'll go to the Keyword Planner, click on Discover New Keywords, and type your keyword over here, which is parenting tips for toddlers. And you'll see that there are two things mentioned over here. So one is the default language, which is English in this case. And then there's a location, which is India in this case. So if you want to check for a certain location, for example, you want to be very, very specific. Let's say uh, someone might think about parenting tips in Marathi. So what she will do is she will probably select that as a keyword. Let's say parenting tips in Marathi. Okay. And what she will do is she will select the, instead of India, she will select Maharashtra as a state, right? So you can search for Maharashtra and click on include, and you can remove India and save it. So now you are doing the search only for Maharashtra, right? Because your focus is more on the Marathi language in this case, and then there's parenting tips for toddlers, which is like a common keyword. Likewise, you can go for this globally. So you can, simply save it. So the moment you save it, you can see you have not selected a particular location, and that means it's all the locations, right? So basically, entire globe for that matter. Okay, and this is an optional thing, and now you can click on get results. So once you do that, what yeah, I'll just close it for a better view. So if you see, some problem. Yeah, yeah. So now you can see that parenting tips in Marathi is one that we have selected, and I think there was one more keyword maybe that got removed. Yeah, parenting tips for toddlers. What's wrong? So I'll just remove this also. So one thing, what I did was I tried to provide this keyword for parenting tips for toddlers, and somehow for any XYZ reason, Google were not able to give me recommendations. Now this can happen because of two reasons. Okay, one reason could be that there are not enough searches for this keyword, which is basically an indication that you should probably not uh, create content exactly for that keyword, which is parenting tips for toddlers, but you can think about some alternatives, right? And the second thing could be maybe that keyword is not commercialized yet. So that's probably also one of the reasons that you're not able to find some information from this tool. Okay. So instead of that, what I can do is I can start with some narrow searches, sorry, broad searches rather, broad as in the case of the idea of the keyword. So it's parenting tips. Okay. And then I'll click on get results. And now you'll see it will start showing me the ideas because I'm looking at a global audience. So it will show me how many times parenting tips as a keyword is being searched in the Google. It's 8,100 times. Okay. And it will also indicate the trends like year on year, whether this is consistent, or you can see this has dropped to, dropped by 33% when it compared with, let's say, 2023. So maybe 2023 it was even more, and this has come down to almost two-thirds of what it was there. Okay, this can be ignored as of now, but I would say rather not to ignore it, and I'll tell you one of the reason why I would say that. See, as a content creator or as a blogger or vlogger, right? One of your primary goal is also to monetize the content. Okay, now how would you monetize the content if you don't know whether your content sells or not, whether there's a commercial value attached with that content or not? Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of reverse engineering over here. Okay, So what we're going to do is, let's take this example only for understanding. Let's say that you want to create a blog around parenting tips. Okay. So you look at some important metrics before deciding upon whether this is the right keyword for you or not. And then you can think about some topics around that. So it doesn't mean that you'll only stick to parenting tips. This is a very broad topic. But what you can do is you can still think about parenting tips for toddlers while keeping parenting tips as the main keyword in your content. Okay. So I'll explain later on, how to make that happen. But for now, you try to understand the dynamics of keyword selection. The first thing is the searches. So this is very good searches. That means 8,000 people globally search for this. So there's a chance, let's say that if you appear in the top three results, and normally it is said by the experts that if you are in the top three in Google, so you can easily get access to 45 to 50% of the traffic. Okay. Let's say you are even in the third position. So you're likely to get at least 10 or 15% of that traffic. And that would mean that you will get 800 to 1,000 clicks for one single blog in a month if your article is able to rank in the top three for this particular keyword, right? So that's the potential. So now 1,000 clicks, similar to what you get on the Instagram and Facebook, like 1,000 impressions or maybe 1,000 views and so on, right? So for me, this is a very important metric: 1,000 clicks, 1,000 website visits. Okay. And of course, when someone visits your website, let's say I'm a user and I search for parenting tips and I find your website in the Google and I reach your website, most likely I will read another blog or topic from your website, and maybe I'll come back constantly back to your website, and maybe even subscribe to your website or blog, right? So yeah, so I'm almost like a follower for you in the context of search engine or your blog, right? So that's the first thing. So you know the potential. The second thing is whether you should do or not. Now, the trend suggests that the search has been, dropping. So now again, you can validate this idea. You can probably go to, this part and change it. Like, these are some advanced options that I'll probably show you later on. And can even change it for, let's say, last 24 months. And so, and it will start showing you whether what happens in the last 24 months, right? So based on that, you can think about whether you should still do, because this is still a very good number, whether you would like to do it. Maybe there's a momentarily downward trend, but maybe it will go upwards again, because this is not a dying topic, right? Most likely parenting tips would always be more like an evergreen kind of topic. So you can still, trust your instinct in this case. Okay. But some of the cases you must trust the Google more than your instinct. Okay. So that's the second part. Third part is the competition. Whether the competition is low, it means that there are not too many blogs competing for this particular keyword. And that's actually a good news for you. Okay. Because that means when you create in a very optimized kind of content, that means your content would start ranking very soon in the Google search results, and you will get a very good result out of that. That could be like, as I mentioned, maybe third position and almost 1,000 clicks a month for you from one single blog. Now, so these are the things that will help you decide whether you should go for this keyword or not. Okay. Now, once you've decided that, okay, I'll go for this keyword, so one important factor would be whether I would be able to monetize this keyword or not. Okay, so this is a very important question. So if you see these figures, which reads as top of the page bid low range and top of the page bid high range, right? So these are the values meant for the advertisers. Okay, so let's say tomorrow, Sabermed or Johnson and Johnson, which are into baby care products, they want to come up with a blog related to parenting tips, right? So, and they want to advertise also. So they will look at the competition and also the cost. So if they want to put an advertisement in Google so that more and more people who are searching for parenting tips, they should probably land up on their website or a particular blog page. So they would know that how much they will have to bear that as a cost. Okay. So they will know that minimum cost that they will pay for one single click is 2.52 rupees, and the higher cost is 133 rupees. Okay. So now what does it mean for you? So you must be thinking, Vivek, these are for the advertisers. I'm not a brand, I'm a content creator. So what exactly it means for me? It basically means for you is that when the same keyword is being used for ad targeting, and somehow an ad is placed on your website, okay, that's your blog, by the way, okay, or maybe a YouTube channel, because Google also owns YouTube for that matter, right? So you'll actually be paid a certain amount, which is a fraction of this cost, which the advertiser bears. Okay. So basically 133, and I would say two-thirds of this cost would go to the blogger. So basically you will probably earn somewhere around 90-95 rupees. And that would be your earning from that particular click. So this is how you should be thinking about, the potential, maybe the revenue of your blog, direct revenue from the advertisements, not from the sponsorship and other things. Okay. So this way, you're not only validating the topic, but you're also trying to shortlist and select the right keywords, right? And then deciding based on these different metrics whether you should use this keyword or not, and also in a way analyze or estimate your earning potential for that matter. Okay. Yeah, Rashmi, please.
Sir, I wanted to check that how does one decide whether we should start with a YouTube channel? Like I'm an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
For my product, what is the mix of media, so to say, to choose whether I start with a blog or a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
or would it be all together? How does one do that?
See, I would, these are kind of you can see outcome of multiple factors. One, of course, is your time and money resource. So it's very easy to say that, okay, you should be all over and you should start everything in one go. But most likely, maybe if you're an entrepreneur, you're doing everything on your own, there's a likelihood that you might not be able to sustain those channels, right? So it's very important that you start in the beginning, right? Maybe with only with one channel, and once you do that, what you're going to do is you are going to focus on the content creation, the quality part, the algorithm part, which is basically, how to, you can say, make YouTube happy or Instagram happy with your content, keywords, hashtags, everything. Okay. So those things are equally important. So, and of course, your product and service and your audience. So I don't know about much about your product or the audience. So I can't give you comment that whether it should be the YouTube or not. If you share more details, maybe I can guide you a little bit more in that.
Sir, I'm a home baker and
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in baking for pets.
Okay.
And it's a market, and most of my products get sold by word of mouth.
Okay, that's great.
And I'm on and off on Instagram, which which
Mm-hmm.
also helps me. But obviously, it's limited to an area because of my limited delivery mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I asked this question.
Okay, and how comfortable you are with content creation, like especially the video and the other kind of content?
I'm comfortable in making them and putting them together, but I'm not sure how effective it is currently,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a niche market.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be effective because not many people know about it, and it's something novel and exciting for people to experiment with. So word is catching up, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving along. But
Okay.
uh,
And and how do you sell? Like, do you simply take orders offline and get it delivered to the people, or you actually have a
that's
website or anything?
I need to, and one of the reasons to also connect here to understand this was that I would need to definitely get into a website.
Mhm.
I mean, I started with doing the Google business, but then the queries come from all across, and it becomes unhandleable because my area is limited, so to say.
Mhm. Area is limited in what sense? Like geographical area you're talking about?
Geographically, yes, geographically. I'm based out
Okay.
of Gurgaon, and that's the sphere of
Hmm.
uh, my business currently.
Got it. See, I would say, so I'll talk about first about the content creation, and then I'll talk about the promotion, part of that. So when it comes to content creation, I think you already mentioned that you're on and off on Instagram. So obviously, make it consistent. That's what I would say. And since you're already active on Instagram, so I think Instagram audience is good audience for you. And even Facebook can work for that matter because as we see in the marketing, so even in Facebook, you'll find still very good traction from little older audiences. Okay, and that is not a bad market for you because a lot of old people staying in a city like Gurgaon would probably have pets. Okay, especially when their kids are outside their hometown and so on. So I think Facebook, Instagram, you can manage it interchangeably in a way that you can do some cross promotion like you can use the similar content on Facebook and Instagram because these are all integrated platform, and you can, let's say for example, put the same story on Facebook and Instagram and likewise same post also. Yes, videos, reels and all, that's something which you need to look into. uh, Now, another thing that can work for you is because you mentioned that it's mainly through word of mouth and it's a very niche market. So people maybe don't know even about this. Maybe, I have a pet and I have not come across your kind of product, right? So one of the things I would constantly do is I'll still go to Google or YouTube and find some tips, find something like, some interesting ideas for my pet to have some interesting food and all that stuff. And then I come across your bakery idea for the pets, right? So you can probably start educating people. So one of the ways when you're building a new product or a service, and in that one, it's such a micro niche kind of category, so I would say that you start educating people, maybe start coming online, maybe sharing some tips or small videos that might not be about only your bakery product in general, but maybe let's say what kind of food you should feed your pets, right? That's how you can begin, and then you can start talking about your bakery products in between. So you're basically kind of being very sensitive to the pet owners and telling them, helping them know that what are the things that they are doing wrong, if they're feeding them something. Okay, for example, a lot of them, if they're feeding them, I don't know, maybe nuts or something, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe nuts are not good for dogs, especially. So things like that. So you can think about that, right? So you can have presence on maybe 2 or 3 channels maximum, but don't go overboard because I think it will become very unmanageable for you. Now, the second part is when you talk about the geographical promotion. So with both, Instagram and Facebook, I would consider that as a meta. So Meta as a platform and Google as a platform gives you those kind of capabilities where you can restrict your ads only to a certain geography. And it's very powerful because you can decide that you want to target only, let's say, people who are staying 5 miles in the vicinity of your place. So you're only targeting those people who stay in the geographical area of 5 kilometers or 5 miles from your place, right? Something like that. Or you can target the entire city, you can target the pet owners. So all those kind of capabilities are there in the advertising platform. So you can even advertise and reach out to them, especially given the context that they don't know much, they're not aware about these things. So advertisement could be a very good strategy for you in that case.
Right. Thank you so much.
I think there was someone else who raised her hand. So yeah, so this was about the content planning. I mean, how would you start with the content creation for uh, blogs and your website, especially keeping Google and other search engines in mind, right? Now, one very important thing that I want to tell you is when you go for, so the first thing was, of course, validating whether this content is actually going to work in Google. So we have validated that idea, and then we have also found some keywords. Now, what we should do is we should go to Google again and try to see what kind of things are being written over there. So when you talk about parenting tips and all, so just go and click on these articles. So the best way to generate idea is to go to the competitor website, right? So they might not be your direct competitors like State of Michigan, might not be your direct competitors, but in the case of Google search results, they're still your competitor because they're ranking in the top position like first, second, third. So you go to them, their website, try to read what exactly they're writing, and try to see if you can come with something very similar or maybe even better than what they have written, and also follow the kind of structure they are putting up over here, like things such as, let's say, positive parenting tips, then you have child safety first, and healthy bodies, all these kind of things. So now you can think, so you get some more ideas about what kind of content should go into creating that blog. So this is what you should do. So this is for in the context of blog. It will also work for your website pages, by the way. So if you are creating an e-commerce website for a product, or maybe you are a service provider like a consulting firm, let's say a parenting coach and all. So you want to create a service page website. So you can follow very similar kind of process that I've explained just now, right? And you can create the content on the basis of that. Okay. So that was the first thing. Now I'll talk about the favorite of everyone, which is basically the social media channels, right? So let's spend some time over there. So we go to Instagram, okay, and because that is the go-to channel most of the time. But before I come to the Instagram, I would like to ask you certain questions, or maybe just put that in the chat window so that everyone can see the answer. So just name all the social media platforms that you know. Put that in the chat window. I don't think it's a very difficult question. The social media platforms that you know. Okay, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Snapchat, all right, LinkedIn, Medium, Twitter, Instagram. Okay, surprisingly, I don't know. I should say that it's surprising for me, or it was expected, but I think everyone missed out on one channel. I don't know if you consider that as a social media channel or not, but I think I would consider that as a social media channel. So that's called as Pinterest. So Telegram, WhatsApp, I would say it's I can't put them into a purely social media channel, but it's more like a communication tool plus a social media in that way. But yeah, Pinterest is a very interesting channel, and the reason I wanted to highlight Pinterest is, and I think I have seen that in most of the scenarios that people miss out on that, is it has great potential. The problem is we are so much obsessed with Instagram and some other platforms that we don't prefer to look into the Pinterest. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Okay, now just look at this keyword. Okay, so I have entered this keyword called as 10 sari draping ideas. Okay? And you'll start finding some blogs and all coming from uh, maybe this is a company that sells that product. Now look at this. Can you see this? So they're basically on this. second position. Now I'll again search for something. So bohemian home decor ideas. So there are some images, videos, and all coming up. Now just look at this, Pinterest. Okay. So I think someone has mentioned something in the chat. See, Pinterest is essentially a social media channel. And the reason is, just like any other social media channel, you can create content, you can publish, you can share it with your audience, you can have the followers, people can reach out to you, and there's so many things. Okay. So I'm going to quickly tell you some very important things about the social media channel and how you should visualize them. Now, when you think about channels such as Facebook and Instagram, most likely they are limited to their own ecosystem. When I say that, I basically mean that uh, both Instagram and Facebook are part of the Meta family. At the same time, they are not very relevant, I would say, um for the search engines. Okay, most likely search engines don't parse their content most of the time. Okay, there might be some exception, but normally you won't find too much of Instagram and Facebook content in the Google search results. Okay, so this is one thing. You can actually find Pinterest and LinkedIn, especially. These are the kind of channels that will appear in the search results a lot of time. Especially, I'm talking about the Pinterest. Okay, so what happens is Pinterest, they have a very good audience. They have a very niche audience for that matter, and that would also mean that with a very less competition, you can actually have very good engagement. But again, a word of caution: it might not work for everything. So you also need to spend some time doing research whether the content on the Pinterest is in line with what you are trying to do or not. So I would not say that, okay, just because I have recommended Pinterest as one of the channel, you should blindly select that as a channel. Okay. But you should do your research. The best way is go to Google, go to Pinterest, and then do some research and see what kind of contents are trending, what kind of content can be found from the Google. So one good thing about the Pinterest is that Google drives a lot of traffic to Pinterest, which doesn't happen in the case of Instagram and Facebook. Second thing would be when you visit Pinterest, so it allows you to take the traffic to the additional channels. For example, in the Pinterest post and all, you can have call to action as your website. I'm talking about the organic post, by the way, not like Instagram and Facebook, where you and I'll come to that part also. So, let's say there's a, I'll probably go to this and explain what I'm talking about. So let's say I go to this page, right? And let's say I like this idea. Okay. Now you can see this is from a company called as Curate Interior, curatedinterior.com. And there's a direct option. I can go to their website in multiple ways. I'll just click on this, and this will take me directly to this particular website. Okay. All right. So I'm getting a traffic instantly. Now in Instagram, you'll probably have to convince someone to look into your bio link, and then they will go to the bio link, and then they again in the bio link you cannot have multiple links, so you'll probably use a third-party tool. Sorry, and then uh, put that link with the help of that third-party tool, which is normally the bio link generator kind of tool, right? And these tools will take your traffic to the website, and it's a lot of effort for the user. So normally you will see, if you are already being Instagram content creator or Facebook Instagram content creator, you might get very good views, you might get very good impressions, uh, and even engagement for that matter, like in the form of like, comments, and share. but you might not get very good website traffic from the Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Having said that, they are very important traffic sorry, they're very important platforms for your brand and for your content creation. You should still do Facebook and Instagram. I would not say not to do that, but I'm also trying to suggest you some alternate channels. So when it comes to social media, strategy, you must identify, let's say, one primary channel for yourself. It could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be LinkedIn for you, or it could be Twitter also, right? So once you have identified one of these channels as the primary channel, you must figure out one channel that can work like a trump card for you. Okay. So now maybe in some of the cases, it could be, let's say, Pinterest, it could be Twitter, or it could be anything like you guys mentioned about WhatsApp, Telegram, and all that stuff. Right. So I think I have one question to answer. Yeah, Varsha, please go ahead.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible.
So I wanted to ask, let's say that I'm offering services, so it's more into the healing sector. So, which platform do you think would be like fine for me? Because I already have my one professional page, which I've been running for the past 2 3 years.
Hmm.
However, when I look into the traction part, the traction is quite low, and the content wise also like I'm not really sure what's exactly is not working, so my
So,
follower count and everything is
mm,
actually not increasing.
okay, you're talking about which channel or platform where you're active? I didn't get the channel name of where you're active. Okay, Varsha, can you hear me? I think. Okay. Anyways, let her come back.
Yeah, sir. I think now you're audible. Yeah. I completely missed out on what you mentioned. If you don't
No, no,
mind,
I was just asking you, what's the name of the channel on which you're promoting your content currently, or the page that you're having?
the name is Varsha Charles. I mean, that's the name of the
No, no, I
channel.
mean, you're on Instagram, Facebook, or which one?
Instagram, sir. Instagram.
Instagram. Okay. And what is the actual challenge on Instagram? Like you are creating content on a regular basis, and you're not getting
But
the traction.
yes, so I'm not getting a traction. So if I look into from the visibility point of view, the visibility is quite low for my particular profile because, like again, sir, that's what the issue is.
Okay. And what kind of audience do you want to target?
So type of audience would be actually everyone, considering it's on the healing section. So it's like everyone requires healing. So the
See,
target
again,
audience.
as I mentioned in the beginning of the session itself, everyone or anyone cannot be the answer. I think you need to sit down and you need to figure out uh,
Okay.
the best audience for your channel first. And see, I mean, I understand, this is a generic product, but again, you also need to understand that is everyone going for that? You always have to think about the preferred audience, right? If you have to select maybe 10 people, you must have an image of that person, that this kind of person would surely go for my service if we educate them about the service, right? So let's say I'm thinking in two lines as of now, because you don't have the right answer for your audience. Let's say one audience could be an audience which has the paying capacity, like someone who goes to corporate, maybe they are working couples and their family, and they have good disposable income. Okay, now someone like that, them might be in a position to spend certain, maybe few dollars, or on your service, which is healing service. Okay. but maybe a very lower middle class family, they might not be able to afford this because maybe for them it could be luxury because they're still struggling with their basic necessities like their health expenses or their groceries and whatnot, education and everything, right? So if you take into account this kind of audience, the first kind of audience that I'm talking about, so Instagram is not a bad channel. Ideally, it should work, and you should be able to promote your content with the help of right keywords and hashtags, right? And maybe I'll have to dig deeper for that. Okay, so I cannot give you the right answer as of now. But I personally believe that if you are keen and if you think that you can create content for a relevant audience like that on the for a corporate audience on LinkedIn or YouTube. Okay, I think that can also work for you because, as I mentioned, these could be very quick takers for your service, right? They have the disposable income, and they might even need it because they're already stressed, they are tired because of their long working hours and so many other responsibilities that normally hangs over their head most of the time, right? So in that case, you can target these kind of people and you can create a very unique strategy reaching out to them either on the LinkedIn or on the YouTube for that matter. Okay.
Understood, sir. I'll surely try over LinkedIn because I've not
Yeah.
tapped into that particular channel as of now. So thank you so much for your answers.
So now let's go to, so I think I was talking about the different kind of social media channels. So let's try to understand them and also try to understand what kind of content normally works well with these channels one by one because we're trying to understand the different content types. Okay. And then in the next section, I'm going to talk more about the content creation process in itself, right? So when it comes to Instagram, so you'll probably, I think it's much more relatable to everyone today because most of us are active on Instagram. And then we're also having people who share content, or maybe we ourselves are sharing a lot of content on Instagram, right? So there are different formats like if you see, this is an image format kind of content, okay? And this could be a single image, but in this case, I think this is a carousel. Yeah, so this is an example of a single image kind of content. Okay, so we can call that as a static post. Okay, so normally the elements that you follow in a static post is basically a very good visual because Instagram is purely a visual, tool. Initially, it was started as more like a photo sharing kind of app, and that's enough post the acquisition by Facebook. It become a visual content tool wherein now you can put videos, short videos, and a lot of other things for that matter. Okay, so when you're creating any kind of visual form of content, so it's very important for you to grab the attention of the audience in the first go because text content is very different. Like normally when you go for the text content, people search for that. Maybe they have their favorite websites, blogs, news portals and all. And once they read the headline, they know that if they want to read it or not. Okay. So if I tell you that 10 bohemian home decor ideas, so that's the blog title. So you would know that whether you want to read it or not. Okay. But in this case, it's going to be always a combination of the visual and also the text that are getting placed. So let's say now for this, I'm just taking an example of this particular content that appeared in front of me that comes from a company called as Local Nation. So what Local Nation does is they provide this platform for the local artisans and small homegrown businesses who are doing something, mostly the handmade things, handcrafted things and all, right? And this platform, Local Nation, is trying to promote their products. Okay. Now, it's a very, I would say, enticing message that comes straight to us, dear younger generations. Please keep our sarees alive in your future. Okay. So that's a very strong message that comes over here. Okay. And now there's a great visual that supports that message. Okay. If you start scrolling, so maybe there are some other relatable visuals that come over here. Now, when you're looking at all these visuals, so then maybe you feel that, okay, this is time that I read more content. So what I'm talking about is your first attention is something uh, that is grabbed by this particular first image and text combination. So a very clear headline. Don't put too much of content with the images, because if you do that, that will mean that user is not able to focus. When you're just think about yourself, right? When you're scrolling through the Instagram, and if you see too much of content cluttered on a single image, you don't know where to pay attention, and maybe you simply think about scrolling it away. Okay, so that should not be the case. Okay, so now what you should do rather is have a very clear text or headline, I would say, like something like this, and then complement this with a relevant image, right? It could be for a single image static post, or it could be for multi-image carousel post. Okay. Now the second important part is this one. So this is basically the caption or the description that you're putting up. And normally when you create this kind of caption, so again, it should be very clear. It should not be too clumsy, and too long paragraph would basically hurt you more. Like, this is a very neat and clean kind of example. Okay. So just think of this. They're not going anywhere. Okay. So this is again a very good beginning, I would say. And then you read more about this, because again, this is something you can see. There's only one line that appears, right? This is the line that you see in the caption, and then you click on the mode. So now imagine you only see this line. So basically, it says, "Dear younger generations, please keep our studies alive in your future." And then this line in the caption, "They are not going anywhere." And you don't know what is written over here. So you click on the mode, and then it expands into this. Okay. So now you need to complement this text and then provide something even more exciting over here, so that people who are interested, who can read more about this. Okay. If not, if they're not reading straight away, so what they will probably do is they will probably save or bookmark this content, right? And or maybe they will like, comment, or maybe send it as a DM to themselves, or share this content with themselves, or maybe with their friends or groups and whatever. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. So this combination is very important. A very clear, catchy headline, maybe a couple of other insights that you can place for this, something like this. Again, it depends upon different types of content, but yeah, I would say that it has to be minimal. You need to highlight it properly, so that the focus, like in this case, this is more like an advertisement, by the way. It's not like a typical organic content. But again, look at this: maximize your sales output. So it's very clear that what this particular webinar or event is about. And then you read further to know that there are 5 key strategies to build a world-class sales function. 2-hour session registered now. And these are the people who are going to be part of this, and some other details. So again, you can see this one. So this is something that works in the case of Instagram, Facebook, and any other platform. I mean, I think you can take that as an example of any static visual content with a text caption or description, and you can follow this kind of format. Now, one thing that you should ideally do is you should include hashtags and some of the important keywords. Like, they have included some of these, as you can see, like their own brand name, which is a local nation, then cotton sarees, Indian wear, designer sarees, and so on, right? So for that also, I will teach you some techniques and tips in the next class. But in this class, my objective was to help you understand different forms of content. Okay. So I would say this can become a universal rule for most of the static visual content on social media, on all the platforms. The only thing that you need to do is you need to think about the right resolution. So uh, sometimes you do a square post, sometimes you do a the rectangular one, the portrait one, right? So all of these things have to be thought through, and you have some ready to use dimensions, so you can use this tool, which is, I think, a favorite of everyone, and you should also use it. It's called as canva.com, right? So if you go to canva.com, you will find all the options to create a great visual content. So you don't have to think about the size and all, you don't have to remember them basically. Okay. So just go to Canva, click on create a design, and now it allows you to create all these different types of posts. For example, if you want to create a Facebook post, so it says that Facebook post has to be in the size of 940 by 788 pixels, right? If you go for an Instagram post, which is a square one, so that becomes like 1080 by 1080 pixels. That's a square size, right? So all those kind of things. So that landscape thing is there. So based on the platform, let's say if you type Pinterest, so it will show you Pinterest pin, static ad, video ads. All these sizes, all these formats are available in the canva.com, right? So you don't have to worry about the size specifications and all those things. Canva will take care of that. Okay. And yeah, so that was about the static posts for all the platforms. And the size might differ. So the same size might not work on LinkedIn, which is working on the Instagram. So that's where you have to be very careful. Otherwise, what would happen is your content might get trimmed over there. Okay. Yeah, Pooja, you can ask your question.
Actually, Vivek, I'm not very good with video editing.
Mhm.
Like, I have no knowledge about that. Will that such kind of skills covered in the course?
See, I'll try to give you a little bit of glimpse of that. I cannot make you an expert in video editing, and that's also, to be very honest, not my forte. Okay, I'm more of a marketer, and my team does that. But yes, I know the basics. I know how to get things done. So I'll guide you. I'll guide you on the graphic designing and video editing skills also. At least you can begin your journey over there. Yeah. And
Thank
I
you so
think
much.
and I think Canva is the perfect tool for all of you, to begin your content creation journey. And we are going to cover more of that in the next session when I start talking about more on the lines of the content creation.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay, I think lots of questions are there, so probably I'll answer them quickly. And so I've not started doing any content writing. So for a beginner like me, I would like to know whether to start with opening a website. If so, how to go about it? What are the eye openers that we as a beginner should look out for, etc. And also, do we stick to a particular content? Okay. So this is from Nimi Krishna. So hi Nimi. So it's a very elaborative question, and I'll try to answer that. And given the context that we only have 10 minutes left in today's session, okay. So I think I'll follow this tomorrow also. So don't miss out on tomorrow's session and day after tomorrow also, because this will be more like a content, you can say continuation of each other. So see, content writing is something. No, I can't just give you and tell you, okay, yeah, I mean, you should do content writing. To be very honest, a lot of people these days, they don't do a proper content writing. They're not writing blogs. What they do is they probably just write a small social media post. I would say it's more like a micro blogging kind of thing that they do. Okay. So you need to take a call first that how good you are with the content creation, especially in form of the writing. Okay. If you're not good at writing, so I would not suggest you to take that up. But if you think you can speak well, if you think you can, record your videos and convey your idea much more clearly than simply writing a content, because I would not suggest you to do something which is not your expertise. So I think this is something that you need to decide. Second thing, building a website is a task which is time consuming. It can be stressful for you. So I'm not sure that at this moment do you need a website, again, because I don't have much information about your content idea or even service or product that you're thinking of selling through it. Okay. So I would say that again, going back to the basics, think about your audience and think about the channel which is the most suitable. If you still think that writing content is the most important thing, because your audience would like to read that content instead of watching a video, or let's say seeing a short video or a reel. So then, yeah, I mean, you should probably think about it. And in that case, I would say you can even start with a free WordPress blog. Just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry. So I hope, and yeah, I think you mentioned that do we stick to a particular content? So when you say particular content, I would say it should be rather a topic. Okay, so let's say you want to talk about health issues, and maybe in health issues, like someone mentioned, maybe she only wants to talk about uh, healing for that matter. Okay, so yeah, I mean that could be a topic for you, and then you can generate ideas and use that for the content creation. So Pooja is saying, okay, I think I already answered your question, Pooja. So yeah.
Yes, yes.
Now Isha has a question. Till now, what we have seen more about entrepreneurship and marketing products, but how can we do some same for the technical blogs and content? Okay, so yeah. So Isha, just to answer your question, see, most of the basic remains the same. Okay, and if you see a lot of technical bloggers or vloggers, they are also using the same channels, right? There's someone called as Technical Guruji, who is very famous. I'm sure that since you're thinking about technical blogs, you would know him. And there are a lot of other players, by the way, right? And they have also decided upon their topic, what they want to talk about, and then they decide upon the channels on which they want to promote. And the third step would be the format of the content that I'm explaining currently. Like, we have talked about blogs, website content, we are talking about Instagram static post and all. And likewise, I'm going to explain all the different formats of the content. And then I'll also show you the way to create them using certain tools. Okay. So, my suggestion would be that once you have a blueprint in place, in terms of your content creation and promotion strategy, that you are clear about your audience, you're clear about your channel, right? So, whatever I'm going to teach you in this course with respect to the ideation, research work, like if I'll show you the keyword research process or I'll show you the hashtag research process, right? So all of them would be equally applicable to all these things. Just the way you would use is maybe would be very different from, let's say, you know, maybe a beauty blogger or someone else, right? Because it's a technical blog or content. Okay. So I'll try to give you some relevant examples wherever applicable, and I'll bring it into the mix so that you also get to understand more about. Now that I know that okay, that people are looking for some technical blogs and content also, so I'll try to provide some references. But otherwise, the process I think remains the same for everyone. So Ishita is asking a question that is this feature of keyword planner also available on other platforms such as LinkedIn or so, Ishita, most of the other channels don't provide this feature. Okay. Google provides this feature, and you can use this feature for keyword research on Google as well as YouTube. Okay. Now, having said that, there are some third-party tools. So there are tools I will probably write in the chat window also. There's a tool called as SEMrush. Then we have something called as Uber Suggest. Okay. So these are some of the tools that are available uh, in the market. These are all paid tools, by the way. Okay, and they provide you keyword research for a lot of platforms that can be Google, YouTube. They also provide you keywords for, I think, Amazon and Then they also provide it for hashtags and all for, let's say, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Right? So I'm not sure about the LinkedIn keyword planner tool. I don't think any platform has very good data about LinkedIn keyword search. Okay, but I think you can do some hashtag research around LinkedIn. Okay, so that's possible. Yeah. So Angel is asking, I tried to see the example of keyword planner on Google, but was not able to see it. Can you please explain again how can we see the statistics in Word keyword planner? So Angel, surely I'll show you that, and just give me a moment. So today maybe I'll give you a glimpse of that, and as I mentioned that once we do a detailed session on this, I will give you more ideas. So yeah, so this is an example. So can you see the screen? Just give me a heads up that you're able to see. All right, great. Yeah. So normally these are the metrics which are available. So this is the keyword parenting tip. And if you see, these are the metrics that normally they give you, like average number of monthly searches. So how many searches happen for this keyword in the Google? So 8,100 searches. Then there's a 3-month change and year-on-year change. So this is basically to indicate the trend, whether the trend for the searches are going upwards or downwards. And based on that, you can figure out um, whether this would be a good keyword idea or not. Okay. Then comes the competition part. So the competition part, so normally, you get these values like low, medium, and high. So low would mean that there's a lesser competition for this keyword, and in a way, it will take lesser time for you to rank for these keywords. So the chances that if you write a very good content and a very optimized content, so you would start ranking very quickly in the Google search results, right? So there's also a download option. So if you click on download keyword ideas, I'll just show you something interesting here. Okay. So you'll see that you have this Excel sheet that gets downloaded. And when you open that in the Excel sheet, you will see two values for competition. So one is competition, which is again the similar to what we were seeing in the dashboard, Google Ads dashboard, low, medium, high, etc. Right? And next to that, there's something called as competition indexed value. Now this score is actually out of 100, 0 to 100. So 0 is the lowest. If there's a value such as 0, so it will most likely be the low competition. And if there's a value of 100, that means it's a high competition. But as of now, see, you don't know what is the difference between these two keywords, right? So I'll just expand this. So I made it bold just for your reference. So there's parenting tips and there's a parenting advice. So both of them has a low competition. But let's say tomorrow, if you have to look at the competition, so this is a relative competition index value. So their competition is, even though it's low, it's 11. And for this, it is 15. Now for this is the 22, right? Again, this is also low, but again, it's 28. So basically, the relative value is increasing for these kind of keywords. That means this keyword, first time dad tips, it has higher competition, even though it has lower searches. Okay. So this can be also helpful for you. And then, as I mentioned, that there are two commercial values, as in for the advertiser, not for the content creators, that you normally get. Uh, like 2.52 is the lowest range of bidding, and 133 rupees the highest range for bidding. Or basically, if you are running an advertisement on this keyword, so you'll have to pay anything between these ranges uh, based on the how other players are bidding for the same keyword, right? And if you download the Excel sheet, you will also find some additional metrics like these. So if you see, it will also give you the seasonal variations like August 2022, there were 18,000 searches for the same keyword. Then in the September, it's 9,900 and so on. So you also need to look into some of the variations, like some of the content or the product. There could be some seasonal variations also. So you need to find out those things. Now, if you see, most of it has remained very much in in between 8,000 and 9,000 or 10,000 end, right? Maybe within few exceptions like 6,000 over here, but most of them have remained consistent around 8,000 mark. Okay. And then for the last 2 3 months it has decreased to 6,600. So all these things are very important. It will help you figure out the patterns and the trends, that how it varies. Maybe there's a seasonal factor, maybe there's some other additional factor. So you have to look into those kind of things. So timing of content is very important, right? So let's say if the school and college admissions are going on and you are an education blogger, so you'll probably think about creating content which will guide the students, helping them select the right college based on certain parameters and so on. Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt. Like, even though
Yeah.
it is low competition keyword, the
Mhm.
index value is around 28, 29. How is this relatable?
So that's what I'm saying now. So there's always a cutoff. So see, essentially there are three values: low, medium, and high. Okay. Now, if you see, there was a keyword which was having a medium competition and it has an indexed value of 35. So most likely there's a cutoff mark where Google decides that maybe the competition is shifting towards the medium competition. So maybe let's say till 33 or 34, there's only low competition keywords. So something could be zero, something could be, let's say, 10, 20, or 30. That means even in the low competition range, if there's a keyword which is having a very low competition, like let's say 5 as an index value, and then there's another one which is having 30. So essentially, this keyword having a 30 kind of indexed value is having a relatively higher competition value than the keyword which is having an indexed value of 5. So this is how you should comprehend it.
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop over here. We have to talk about a lot of stuff in social media content creation. So we can do that tomorrow. Like I can start with different forms of content, and then I can continue with the next step, which is the actual content creation process, tools, and platforms. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? No, right? All right. So thanks everyone. And tomorrow you'll find, in fact, more things in action. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you a lot of practical stuff and give you all the relevant examples. So, like, if you want something very specific, so accordingly, you can ask your queries, and I'll try to ensure that I'm not missing out on anything. Okay, because it might not be practically possible for me to cover each and every possible example of all the industries, right? But yeah, if you ask the question, I can still give you the references. Okay, everyone, thanks and have a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ladies, I have posted the dates and the names of the sessions which are going to be there for next 2 days. Okay, and now you know how this is going to be, continuing for the next 2 days. So please join on time and do not miss the continuation. I'll see you again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you, Vivek. Have a lovely day ahead, and everyone, you too, have a great day.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.